boys and girls, a very good evening and welcome to yet another live session brought to you by TalentSprint for your upcoming bank exams preparation, especially the highly competitive one, which is the IBPS PO scheduled for the middle of October. Now, I'm sure you are in the pink of your health, and so is your preparation, right? Remember, like you'll always say, this time is not gonna come back. So make the most of this limited time available before the exam and practice as much as you can so that you can maximize your score, right? And the objective is to be able to walk into that examination center with confidence, with the confidence that I can do it, I can crack it. And I think that's what will set your mood and get you in the right form for the next 1 hour of your examination. Okay, so practice, guys, is the only key. The more you practice, the easier it gets, right? And I only hope these live sessions that we do help you enhance your preparation by revisiting those concepts which are very much required to solve any question. However easy or difficult the question is, the concept has to be learned thoroughly. So that's what we are trying to do with these live sessions, right? Revisit very important concepts, and otherwise we have videos available for all the topics that you can think of, right? And at different levels. We have got basic videos, advanced videos, we have got lots of additional videos for practice. So just make the most of these videos available on our YouTube channel and keep joining us in these live sessions. It really would be encouraging. So let's get started. I have already a few members here active on the chat. Today's topic of discussion is data sufficiency. Now, I don't have to tell you the importance of data sufficiency, right? Importance in terms of weightage, it is up to 5 marks, right? We have seen many exams, many bank exams where we have got 5 questions on data sufficiency. And importance otherwise in terms of the topic itself is, in my view, again, high, because this tests your knowledge across topics in quantitative aptitude or across topics in reasoning. Remember, data sufficiency is not another concept. It is only a format of asking a question from a topic, right? Like you can have a multiple choice question, or you can have a fill in the blank type of a question. You will have a data sufficiency type of question, right? So data sufficiency is where you have to read the question, read the statements, and then understand if the given statements are sufficient to answer the given question. You are not expected to solve for the answer. You are not expected to, or you're not supposed to solve that numerical calculation there and arrive at the final value. That's not required. All you need to understand is if the data can be sufficient to answer the question or not, right? Now, sometimes you may have to do some paperwork. Most of the times, without putting pen on paper, with your understanding of those different concepts, you can mark the correct answer. But like I said, any topic can be asked under data sufficiency. It can be a question on time and work, it can be a question on time and distance, it could be a question on profit and loss, or a question on blood relations, or for that matter, it can be a puzzle which can be framed in the form of a data sufficiency question. So very important topic in my view. We will jump into a few questions today directly and understand the approach for solving such questions, right? There's no formula, but there are certain rules that you need to keep in mind while attempting these questions. So without delaying anymore, let me quickly present the first question to you all. Here we have got questions with 3 statements, A, B and C, and we need to understand which of these statements or what combinations of these statements can give us the answer. The first question is on your screens now. See what it says. A, B and C entered into a partnership if the profit earned in the business is proportional to the investment and the period of investment. Then what is the profit of B if all of them invested the amount for 1 year and the total profit is rupees X? Now, as you can see, this is a question on partnership. Partnership is another important topic under arithmetic aptitude, and I think there's only one equation that can help you solve all questions from partnership, right? The equation is profit is proportional to investment and the duration of investment. So that's what he's telling in the question as well, right? Now let's go back and read the given statements. A invested rupees 1500 more than C. A invested 2 times more than B. C invested 3 times more than A. B invested 200% more than A and 100% less than C. So with this data, tell me which of these options would be correct. These are the options 1 to 5, right? Option 1 says any two of them, option 2 says either B or C alone is sufficient, option 3 says any of them, which means any one statement can be taken to answer the question, option 4 says all statements are required, and option 5 says none of these, meaning none of these options are correct. There's some other combination that can give us the answer. So try and solve this now. Partnership. I think there's one error here. I would just try to fix that. It is not 100% less. It is 10% less. Just a second. You can continue answering or trying the question here. Let me. Yeah. Alright, so I think the time is up. Let's discuss the solution now. Look at the question. A, B and C entered into a partnership if the profit earned in the business is proportional to the investment and the period of investment. So basically the statement given here, profit earned is proportional to investment and the period of investment, actually is the entire concept of partnership itself, right? Profit is proportional to investment and the period of investment. Then what is the profit of B if all of them invested the amount for 1 year? So all of them, meaning all A, B and C invested the amount for 1 year. So the moment you know that all of them are invested for 1 year, this period of investment makes no more sense, right? Because the period of investment is same for all of them. So it would not impact their profit. What will impact their profit now is the investment. You're getting it? We have understood that profit is proportional to investment and period of investment and the duration of investment, let's say, right? Here we know the duration for all three is same, so it will not have any impact on the profit, right? So profit, I can say now, is solely dependent on the investment itself, right? Higher your investment, higher will be your profit. Lesser your investment, lesser will be your profit. Okay. So all of them invested the amount for 1 year and the total profit is rupees X. The total profit is rupees X. So what will be the share of B? What will be the profit of B out of X is the question here. What is going to be the profit of B out of X? Yeah. The total profit is rupees X. Now how do you solve this? First statement here, A invested rupees 1500 more than C. A invested rupees 1500 more than C. What does it tell you? We are looking at investments, right? Let's say the investments are A, B and C respectively, right? Let's assume that investments are A, B and C respectively. So statement A tells me that A invested 1500 more than C. So one equation that I know from statement 1 is A is equal to C plus 1500. But tell me, does it give you the answer? No. For us to calculate the profit of B, profit of A is to profit of B is to profit of C is equal to investment of A is to investment of B is to investment of C. Since duration is 1 year for all of them, it gets eliminated. So for us to get the profit of B, I should know this ratio. This one equation will not help me get the ratio, right? I want A is to B is to C. Statement A tells me that A is equal to C plus 1500. Doesn't help at all. So one alone or statement A alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Statement 2, what does it say? A invested 2 times more than B. C invested 3 times more than A. Look at statement B now. We are working on statement B, right? A invested 2 times more than B. 2 times more than B. Meaning A is equal to 2B. Yes or no? C invested 3 times more than A. Right? C invested 3 times more than A. So C is equal to 3A. Now the understanding is, once I know these two equations, can I get the ratio between A, B and C? Yes. I can get the ratio between A, B and C. The moment I get the ratio between A, B and C, will I be able to get the profit of B? Yes. I will be able to get the profit of B. Yes or no? So B alone gives us the answer. Yes or no? B alone can give us the answer because we know A is equal to 2B and C is equal to 3A. So I can combine these two to get the ratio between A, B and C. Now I am not going to spend time in explaining how to get the ratio between A, B, C once you have those two smaller equations, because that is not expected from us in the exam, right? All I know is I can combine these two to get the ratio. I'll get some ratio and that ratio will help me get to the profit of B. So there ends the matter. Now don't waste your time in combining those three. Like for example, A is equal to 2B, C is equal to 3A. So it means I can say C is equal to 3 times of A, which is 2B. So C is equal to 6B. So from this, the ratio of A is to B is to C is equal to what? Let me write everything in terms of B. So A is equal to 2B, B is B as it is, and C is equal to 6B. So what is the ratio? 2 is to 1 is to 6. 2 is to 1 is to 6. If you have done this, you are wasting your time. This is not required. What is required for you to understand is I can use these two to get this equation, and that will give me the answer. So B alone can give you the answer, right? B alone can give you the answer. Now look at C, statement C. Statement C again is of a similar type, right? Statement C tells us that B invested 200% more than A and 10% less than C. So B invested 200% more than A, meaning what? 200% more than A plus 2A. So basically B equals to 3. In fact, in the previous statement also, while it doesn't really change our answer, but I think we have to be careful. A invested 2 times more than B would mean A is equal to 3B actually. B plus 2B. Likewise, C invested 3 times more than A would mean A plus 3A. So 4A. C should be equal to 4A. So the ratio would change. But anyway, we'll get the answer. We'll be able to get the ratio is the point here. Look at statement C. B invested 200% more than A. 200% more than A. Meaning A plus 2A. So B is equal to 3A. And 10% less than C. B is equal to 90% of C. 0.9 C. Again the same thing. I have two equations in terms of B, A and C. Can I combine these two equations to get the ratio of A, B, C? Yes. Yes or no? I can write everything in terms of B again. So A is to B is to C. I'm just explaining how to get the final ratio. This is not required in the exam. Be very, very careful. What is A? A equals to B by 3. B equals to 3. So A equals to B by 3. B is as it is. And C equals to B by 0.9. C equals to B by 0.9. So some way I'll solve this and get the ratio. I'll get A, B, C is to ratio. A is to B is to C ratio. Once I get A is to B is to C ratio, will I be able to get the profit of B? Yes. Because for me to evaluate the profit of B, I need to know what is A is to B is to C. So B gives me the ratio, C also gives me the ratio. So can I say either B or C alone can give me the answer? Yes or no? Either B or C alone can give me the answer. So option 2 has to be taken as the answer here. Now very important points before we move to the next question. When you are solving a question from data sufficiency, always remember that when you consider a particular statement, use only the information given in that statement. Usually the tendency is after reading statement 1, when you go to statement 2, when you go to statement 2, you actually have to forget what was given in statement 1. But we tend to use that information also, which defeats the whole objective of data sufficiency, right? What are you checking? You are just trying to check if statement 2 alone is enough or not. But in the process of checking that, you're using the data given in statement 1, which is not correct, right? So very, very careful when you are answering questions from data sufficiency. Use only one statement at a time, which means only the data given in that statement has to be considered. Everything else has to be forgotten. And any data given in the question can be used, right? Sometimes the question itself may have some data, so that can be used. And the data in the statement can be used. So that's one very important point to be remembered while answering questions from data sufficiency. Let me now move on to the next one. There's this next question on equations here, simple equations. Here we go. What does it say? Raghava buys 30 books and 65 pens. If the price of each book is more than the price of each pen, then how much money does he have to pay for this? Interesting question. Raghava has bought 30 books and 65 pens. The price of each book is more than the price of each pen. Then how much money does he have to pay for this? Read the statements. So basically, before reading the statements, always make up your mind as to what is required. Like in the previous question, we made up our mind that I need the ratio. Any statement that gives me the ratio will give me the answer. That was understanding. Likewise here, before you start reading the statements, always boil it down to the last thing that is required. Okay, I need this. If I get this information, I'll be able to solve the question. If you get that understanding, solving the question becomes very easy. So before we jump into the statements here, let us understand what is needed. See, let's assume the price of each book is B and the price of each pen is P, right? The price of each book is more than the price of each pen. So basically one point given in the question is B is greater than P. Each book is more than each pen. Then how much money does he have to pay for this? Pay for this. This meaning what? This transaction of 30 books and 65 pens. So basically your requirement here, the answer to this question is 30B plus 65P. 30B plus 65P. This is what you need. I mean, your final answer is going to be 30B plus 65P. Now, for you to get what is 30B plus 65P, there are two things that are required. I need to know what is B and what is P. So, a statement or a combination of statements, one statement or a combination of statements which can give me B or P, B and P, right, will give me the answer. That's what will be my conclusion. I will not waste my time solving the whole points or numbers. That's not the idea. Just look for B and P. Either it should give me B and P so that I can substitute in that equation 30B plus 65P, or it should give me that equation itself 30B plus 65P. So with this idea, let's look at the statement. Statement 1. At a profit of 20%, he sells all the objects for 3828. Now in a blink of an eye, I would say A alone is sufficient to give me the answer. Statement A alone gives me the answer. How? All he tells us here is after a profit of 20%, he sold everything for 3828, which means this is the selling price. 3828 is the selling price. He sells all objects, right? Selling price. So you know the selling price. You know the selling price. Yes. You also know the profit 20%. You know the selling price. You know the profit. Can you get the cost price? Yes, cost price can be calculated, right? When you know selling price and profit, cost price can be calculated. And the cost price is nothing but 30B plus 65P. The cost price will be for all these objects. All these objects are what? 30 books and 65 pens. Which means statement A actually directly gives me this equation 30B plus 65P. If I work on the selling price and the profit, the cost price that I get is nothing but 30B plus 65P. So statement 1 alone is sufficient to give me the answer. 1 alone gives me the answer. Now let's go to statement 2 alone. Right? By the way, if you want to eliminate, some of the options can be eliminated after reading the first statement, after evaluating the first statement. Like for example, all together are necessary. This is wrong answer. All together are not necessary. I can get the answer from 1 alone. So why will I say all together are necessary? I won't say that. Likewise, all even together are not sufficient is wrong. All even together are not sufficient means what? Even if you combine all 3 of the statements, you will not get the answer. But is that really the case? No. A alone is giving me the answer. So 4 and 5 are eliminated. See, B and C together are sufficient. It is wrong because I know only A can give me the answer. So why do I go to B and C together? Now option 1 may be possible. Only A alone or B alone is sufficient. This could be the answer. Or A alone or B and C together are sufficient can also be the answer. Right? Now, before we proceed further to statement B and statement C, it is important to eliminate the wrong answers, wrong options. Why? If you see, we have been able to eliminate 3 options. If we were lucky enough, we could have eliminated 4 options. And then you don't have to proceed to B and C. If 4 options are anyway eliminated after reading the first statement or after evaluating the first statement, there ends the matter. The 5th option, whichever is the left out option, has to be the answer. Okay? So this is how you can save your time in the exam, by eliminating options at each step. Right? Read statement 1 alone, evaluate, and check. If options are getting eliminated, just keep eliminating those options. Right? It will help you. Now let's go back. So statement B alone. The cost price of 1 book and 1 pen is rupees 90. What does it tell me? The cost price of 1 book and 1 pen is rupees 90. Remember, when I'm reading statement B alone, I'll forget about statement A. I don't know what was given in statement A. All I know is 30B and 65P has to be calculated. Now, what is this information given in statement B? Statement B tells me that B plus P equals to 90. Now tell me, how will it help you? I have only one equation, B plus P equals to 90. With one equation, can you find out 2 variables, 2 unknown values? No. So B alone cannot give me the answer. B alone cannot give me the answer. Which means option A or option 1 is also eliminated, because option 1 tells me that only A alone or B alone is sufficient, but B alone is not sufficient. So what does it mean? 1, 2, 4 and 5 are killed. Option 3 has to be the answer. I would not waste my time in reading what is statement 3 and checking if option 3 is right or not. If I am sure that 1, 2, 4 and 5 are wrong, that's it. You either find the correct answer or find out which 4 are wrong. Sometimes finding out which 4 are wrong proves to be faster and easier. That's what we have seen here. So I think this knack of eliminating the options at every step without again wasting too much of time helps you arrive at the right answers very quickly. Okay. Anyway, for the sake of understanding, I would read statement 3 also and understand what is the data given there and how could we use it. But remember, solution is over here. I know the answer is option 3. I don't even know what option 3 reads, but I know option 3 is correct. What is option 3, by the way? A alone or B and C together are sufficient. Anyway, let's read statement C now. What is statement C? The difference between the sum and difference of buying price of one pen and one book is 28. Now that's an interesting statement. How do you frame the equation from that statement? He says the difference between what? Sum and difference between sum and difference of buying price of one pen and one book is 28. Which means what? See, see, when one book and one pen, what is the sum? B plus P. Now don't say B plus P equals to 90. You should forget B plus P equals to 90, right? Don't extract that information from statement 2 and put it here. Why? We are reading statement C. So we should forget what is given in B. So the difference between sum is B plus P. Difference between sum and difference. What is the difference? B minus P. I can write B minus P because I know B is greater than P, right? Otherwise it could mean B minus P or P minus B. But here it was very clearly given that each book is more than each pen. Price of each book is more than each pen. So basically he is telling us that the difference of what? Sum and difference, B plus P and B minus P equals to 28. What happens if we solve this? B gets cancelled. We get 2P equals to 28, which means P equals to 14. Now, how will it help you? Statement C alone. Statement C alone doesn't help because all we get to know from statement C is P equals to 14. Just by knowing P equals to 14, can you answer this question mark? No, I would still want what is B. I've only found what is P. P equals to 14, but what is B is not known to us. So statement C alone does not give me the answer. Now comes the important part. Now comes the next important part. In data sufficiency, we may have to go for a combination of statements. Sometimes you'll have to combine 2 statements or more than 2 statements to see if the combination can give you the answer or not. Yes or no? This set of questions that we are solving today have got 3 statements each, but general format is 2 statements. One question with 2 statements. Now when you're having 2 statements, how do you deal with it? Read statement 1 alone and read statement 2 alone. Statement 1 alone, evaluate. It may give you the answer, may not give you the answer. Statement 2 alone, evaluate. May give you the answer, may not give you the answer. Combination of 1 and 2 has to be done if and only if both these statements independently fail to give the answer. Right? What are the possible combinations? See, 1 can give you the answer, so tick. Or may not give you the answer, cross. 2 can give you the answer, tick. Or 2 does not give you the answer, cross. So either, if it is a tick case, 1 gives, 2 gives. What should be our answer? Either 1 alone or 2 alone is giving me the answer. It can be a cross tick. If it is a cross tick, what does it mean? B alone is giving me the answer. That's it. I will not go for combination. It can be a tick cross, meaning A alone gives me the answer. I don't have to go for combination. Only if it is cross. 1 doesn't give you the answer, 2 doesn't give you the answer, then you go for combination. And again, combination may or may not give you the answer. Okay, so depending on that, you can mark the question, mark the answer there. Now, if you look at this set here, we know 1 alone gives the answer, 2 and 3 have failed. But if you combine 2 and 3, if you now go for the combination of 2 and 3, read the statements 2 and 3 together. What is given in statement 2? B plus P equals to 90. What is given in statement 3? P equals to 14. If I combine these two and substitute P back here, will I be able to get B? Yes. Now don't say 90 minus 14, B equals to 76. Those who all have done B equals to 76 are wasting their time, including me. But I am explaining it to you, so I can discount my effort there, right? P equals to 14, B plus P equals to 90. All I understand is I can calculate B from this. And the moment I calculate B from this, I can solve this equation, which is the requirement. So combination of 2 and 3, B and C is giving me the answer. Hence, option 3, A alone or B and C together. B and C together are sufficient. Please do not say B equals to 76. 90 minus 14, 76, I know it takes just about a second, but why do you want to waste that? So the second important rule, the first important rule of data sufficiency is when you read a particular statement, use only information given in that statement. Don't use the information given in other statements. Rule number 2, combination has to be done if and only if individually the statements fail to give the answer. Okay, let's move on. Let's take the next question. Now this is some time and work. I told you, right? Anything can be asked under data sufficiency. The next one here on your screens is on time and work. Try this. Got this? Okay, here we go. What does it say? In how many days men and women can do the work when working together? In how many days men and women can do the work when working together? Now read statement A. The ratio between the efficiency of men and women is 3:1. Wonderful. He's talking about the efficiency, right? Capacity of a man is to capacity of a woman. It is 3:1. Men and child can do 1/3 of the work in 9 days. Men and child can do 1/3 of the work in 9 days, which means one man and one child can do 1/3 of the work in 9 days. So they can do the total work in 27 days. So I can say men plus child together can do it in 27 days. Are you able to follow? Men and child together can do the work in 27 days. 1/3 is done in 9 days. So full work will be done in 27 days. Likewise, women can do 2/3 of the work in 14 days. Women can do 2/3 of the work in 14 days. I am actually quickly reading the statements to get the equations out of it. We will evaluate it further, right? Don't worry. Women can do 2/3 of the work in 14 days. If woman is able to do 2/3 of the work in 14 days, they will do the total work in how many days? See, 2/3 is done in 14 days. So 1 unit will be done in how many days? You understand? This is a simple cross multiplication. This is the amount of work. And this is the number of days. You know that work and number of days are proportional. More work, more days. Less work, less days. So when two things are proportional, you can do a cross multiplication to evaluate the missing one. 2/3 of the work can be done in 14 days. 1 unit of work, the full work, will be done in how many days? What do? Cross multiply. 14 into 1 divided by 2 by 3. So basically 21 days, right? 21 days. So it tells us that women can do it in 21 days. One woman can do it in 21 days. One woman can do it in 21 days. A woman alone can do it in 21 days. Now, I am reading the question again. What does it say? In how many days men and women can do the work when working together? Men and women can do the work when working together. The challenge I see in this question is the number of men and number of women have not been specified. The number of men and number of women have not been specified. Do we know how many men are working? How many women are working? No. So how do we solve this question? Either the data in the statement should tell me how many men and women are involved, or the question itself should give me the data. But question does not give us the data. All I know is some men and some women are working. In how many days will they do the work? When they're working together. Statement 1 alone anyway is not sufficient because it only gives us the capacity ratio. Men's capacity is to women's capacity is 3:1. You understand? Capacity of a man is 3 times the capacity of a woman, which means if one man can do the work in X days, 3 women will be able to do the same work in X days. Right? Or if one man can do it in X days, one woman will do it in 3X days. Man's capacity is 3 times, right? So woman's time required will be 3 times. Yeah? But will that give me the answer? No. A alone does not give me the answer. B tells me about men and children together. One man and one child can do it in 27 days. Does it help me? No. C tells me in how many days can a woman do the work? A woman can do it in 21 days. But then this alone is not enough, right? I mean, it tells me that a woman can do it in 21 days. But how many women are involved and how many men are there, that we do not know. Yeah? So C alone does not give me the answer. Even if I combine all three, even if I combine all the three statements together, what all will I get? What all will I get? See, all I can say is, capacity of a man is to woman is 3:1. And then I know that woman takes 21 days. If woman takes 21 days, then I can conclude by 1 and 3 that a man would take 7 days. Yes or no? Only then the ratio will become 3:1, right? See, don't get confused. This is capacity of a man, capacity of a woman. CM and CW. This is number of days required by a woman, number of days required by a man. Their capacity ratio is 3:1, meaning time ratio will be 1:3. So if woman can do it in 21 days, man will be able to do it in 7 days. Now, if it is only one man and one woman that have to work together, I can still use A and C together to get the answer. Because I know a man alone can do it in 7 days, a woman alone can do it in 21 days. Together they will be doing it in AB by A plus B or 1 by A plus 1 by B, whichever method you apply. But he's talking about men and women. You see, in how many days men and women can do the work working together. How many men and how many women is not known, even in the data. Suppose there is a statement which says there are 5 men and 4 women who are working together. 5 men and 4 women who are working on this job. Then I can use that information. And that information becomes mandatory for us. But that information also is not given to us. So even if I combine, I'll only know number of days man alone would take, a number of days woman alone would take. But how many men and how many women, I would still not know. So the question cannot be answered even after using all the statements. The question cannot be answered even if you use all the statements together. Okay? I'm sure that's not very difficult. Yeah? Let's move on. Let's take one more question. Let's now go to mensuration, right? Any topic, like I said, can be asked under data sufficiency. The next question that we have is on squares and triangles and such shapes, right? So basically a concept of mensuration. Let's see how many of you are able to crack this. Here we go. The question is on your screens now. Is the length of a side of equilateral triangle E less than the length of a side of a square S? Is the length of a side of equilateral triangle E less than the length of a side of a square S? So there is an equilateral triangle E and the length, and then there is a square S. Or we may assume that the length of the equilateral triangle, side of the equilateral triangle is E and the side of the square is S. So is the length of that equilateral triangle less than the length of the square? Is the length of the equilateral triangle less than the length of the square? You know what is the most important part in this question? The word is. I don't know how many of you have thought about it, but the most important part in this question is the word is. I'll tell you why. Data sufficiency, in my view, is an easy sail through. I mean, you can just, of course, you should know the concept to be able to answer the question. But then, not hard to apply the concept and evaluate which statements would give the answer. But sometimes it can get tricky. Especially when the question starts with is or are, right? Or, something like that. Like is E is the length of the equilateral triangle, side of the equilateral triangle. S is the side of the square. Is E less than S, or is E more than S? Or to put it in an even simpler form, let's say is X an even number, if that's the question. And there's some statement given about X then, some statements about X. So is X an even number, or is A an odd number? Or if I have to talk about blood relations, reasoning, the question could say, is Dilip the husband of Pooja, right? Now, all these questions that start with is can get tricky if you do not understand what is the requirement there. Remember, when I say is A an odd number, what can be your answer? Your answer can be yes, or your answer can be no. See, these are all true or false type of questions. This is actually a true or false type of question. Is E less than S? True or false? Yes or no, right? So in all these true or false type of questions, the tendency generally is that we assume that when it is false, it means it is incorrect. But that's not the idea. You're able to follow? Is A an odd number? Suppose A is 5 answer will be yes. If A is 6, answer will be no. Because the question was, is A an odd number? I have figured out from the statement that A is equal to 6. So what will be my answer? No. Remember, no is the answer. No is the correct answer. Getting my point? Many students have this misunderstanding, right? I mean, and generally it happens. When we see no, we think it is no. It means not. It is not giving me the answer, but it is giving me the answer. Just take a simple case. Is A, the question is A an odd number? Is A an odd number? Statement 1, the information given is A is equal to 5. Statement 2 tells that A is equal to 6. Very, very simple. I can in fact write it on the screen here to make it easier for you to follow, right? The question is A an odd number? Think about it. Yeah, is A an odd number? Statement 1, A is equal to 5. Statement 2, A is equal to 6. You know what? Most of the students, either in a hurry or due to misunderstanding, will say only one is sufficient. One alone is sufficient. Why? The question was, is A an odd number? A is equal to 5, meaning yes. This is giving yes. A is equal to 6, meaning no. So yes, since it is yes, statement 1 alone is sufficient. Since it is no, statement 2 alone is not sufficient. But this is wrong. You know what's the answer? Either 1 alone or 2 alone is sufficient. Why? Why is it this way? Because when I see A is equal to 5, I can answer this question. Yes. Is A an odd number? Yes. But when I see A is equal to 6, I get, what is the answer? No is the answer. My answer to this question is no. Is A an odd number? I am saying no. How am I able to say no? Because statement 2 tells me that A is equal to 6. Because statement 2 tells me that A is equal to 6, which means there is that enough information available in statement 2 for me to be able to answer that question. Answer is no, but that's the correct answer. Answer is no, but that is the correct answer. You're getting it? Is A an odd number? That statement concludes that A is equal to 6 or A is equal to even number. A is an even number. So can I go back and answer the question now? And that's what is data sufficiency, right? Is the given information sufficient for you to answer the question? Yes. The given information is A equal to 6. It tells me that A is an even number. The question is A an odd number? No. There ends the matter. No, A is not an odd number. How am I able to tell this? Using statement 2 alone. So statement 2 alone is also sufficient. So rule number 3, very, very important when you're answering questions on data sufficiency. There can be questions starting with is, are, are 4 boys, doing better than 2 girls, for example. I mean, something there, right? Is, are, the same format. All these questions have answers as yes or no, true or false. Yes or no? When you have got a true or false question, false is not a wrong answer. False can be correct, right? I mean, is, I think I've used this multiple times, maybe one more time for lack of any other creative example immediately. But is Rahul Gandhi the Prime Minister of India? What's your answer? No. But that's the correct answer. Yeah, that's how simple it is. But the simple thing can get complex when it is asked in data sufficiency. So when you solve this question of side of an equilateral triangle versus side of a square, be careful. Okay? So presenting the question to you again, do it carefully. What does it say? Is the length of side of an equilateral triangle less than length of side of a square S? So there is an equilateral triangle. Let's assume the length is L. The length is L. L, L, L. And then there is a square. Let's assume the length is S. Let's assume the length is S. S, 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 and S. So what are we asking? Is L less than S? The question boils down. Very, very simple. Is L less than S? What can be the answer? Yes or no can be the answer. Yes or no can be the answer. You should have that clarity. Now, statement A, perimeter of E and the perimeter of S are equal. I think E and S here means so this triangle is E, let's assume, and this is capital S. Just to differentiate between that capital S and small s, I am just doing all that drama. So the perimeter of E and the perimeter of S are equal. What's the perimeter of E? So basically what does it mean? 3L is equal to 4S. Now the moment I have an equation in terms of L and S, without checking, now remember, without checking, I'll tell that A alone is sufficient. Now this again is very, very important. I'm coming back on video to explain this to you. All I know is 3L equals to 4S. Now I'll not try to find out the ratio 3L equals to 4S, L by S equals to 4 by 3. So since L by S equals to 4 by 3, length is 4 parts, side of the square is 3 parts, which means length is more than side. So yes, is length more than side? Yes is the answer. No, that's not what you will do. If I can get one equation in terms of L and S, I'll be able to figure out is L more than S or less than S, right? One equation as in the comparative equation. Here it tells me 3L equals to 4S. Either L will be more than S or L will be less than S. Yes or no? The moment you know 3L equals to 4S, either L will be more than S or L will be less than S. But I am able to get to that more than S or less than S from the information given in statement 1. So I'll stop there. I'll say statement 1 alone is sufficient. I'll not solve it further. Don't try to waste your time by writing L by S equals to 4 by 3. So length is greater than side of the square. Triangle's length is greater than square's length. So answer is yes. No. Whether the answer is yes or no, I am able to tell that yes or no, whichever the case might be, using statement 1. So statement 1 alone is sufficient. This understanding is very, very important. Even if you don't understand this, you will spend maybe another 5 seconds to evaluate and find out L greater than S, less than S. But why do we need to do that? Why should I waste my 5 seconds or 3 seconds for that matter? Okay. So remember, don't put a full stop there. That's yes, this is the answer. That's not required. All is required there is to check if the answer can be obtained or not from the given information. Going back, so 1 alone is sufficient, right? 1 alone is sufficient. Look at 2. The ratio of height of triangle E to the diagonal of square is 2 root 3 is to 3 raised to 3 root 2. Again the same thing. I would say B alone is sufficient. I will not write the equation now because that's a waste of time. What I know is I can get one equation in terms of L and S. Ratio is given. Ratio of height of equilateral triangle and diagonal of square is given. The understanding that you must have is the height of the triangle can be written in terms of its length and the diagonal of the square also can be written in terms of its side. Which means this is a ratio in terms of length and side. The moment I have a ratio in terms of its length and side, I will be able to tell whether length is more than side or not. Length is more than side or less than side. So 2 alone is sufficient. If you start doing this, so I'm marking it. I'm concluding that B alone is sufficient. I will not do all this. Height of equilateral triangle. What is the height of a triangle? Height of an equilateral triangle will be root 3L by 2. Height of a triangle, equilateral triangle, with respect to its side is root 3L. Now this is the knowledge that you get from mensuration. I mean, you should know this. If you do not know this, then you can't solve the question. So height of an equilateral triangle in terms of its length can be taken as root 3L by 2. Divided by side, diagonal. What is diagonal of a square? Root 2s. If the side is s, the diagonal is root 2s. This is equal to 2 root 3 by 3 root 2 according to the question. Now start solving it. What happens? We will get root 3L by 2 root 2s equals to 2 root 3 by 3 root 2. Then I'll solve it. So root 3 gets cancelled. This root 2 gets cancelled. So I will get L by S equals to 2 into 2, 4 divided by 3. So L, yes, which means L is greater than S. Why? Because L by S equals to 4 by 3. All this is absolute nonsense. Anybody who has done that has only wasted his or her time. I don't have to do that. All I have to understand is, yes, height can be written in terms of length, the diagonal can be written in terms of its side. So I have an equation in terms of length and side. I have a ratio in terms of length and side. And you know that any ratio will give us a comparison between the two values, right? That's the concept of ratios. We solved questions on ratios just yesterday, right? Any ratio will give us a comparison between those two quantities. Even if I tell you boys is to girls in a class are in the ratio of 4:3, you know that the boys are more than girls. Average marks scored by boys is to average marks scored by girls is 5:7. You know that girls have performed better than boys because average of boys is 5 parts, average of girls is 7 parts. It's more. Average of girls is more than the average of boys. There in the matter. I will be able to conclude whether B is more than G or B is less than G. So without doing all that drama of writing that equation, solving it, and then concluding it, you should conclude that B alone is sufficient. Now I think before I jump to the third one, I've talked about elimination of options, right? You know, option 1 gets eliminated already. Option B also gets eliminated because only A gives me the answer, but only B also gives me the answer. So only A, only B is wrong. Only C also would be wrong. Why? Because A alone and B alone can also give. So why will I mark only C? All A, B, C is also wrong. Do we need all A, B, C together? No. Answer has to be option 4. A or B or C alone are sufficient. Now the advantage here is I am not working on statement C. Without working on statement C, I am able to mark option 4 as the answer, because when A alone and B alone have given me the answer, then C alone should also give me the answer, because everything else fails. All the other 4 options fail. All the other 4 options here have failed. So 4 has to be the answer. You're getting me? So I am not going to waste my time in solving statement C, because the only suitable option there is option 4. Which means statement C also should give me the answer. However, for our understanding, let's solve statement C as well. What does it say? Area of triangle and area of square are equal. What is the area of an equivalent triangle? Root 3 by 4 side square, which is L in this case. So root 3 by 4 L square. What is area of a square? S square. That's it. I have one equation in terms of L and S. A linear equation. I mean, I can take square root on both the sides. So what do I get? L by S equals to square root of 4 by root 3. That's it. I have some ratio in terms of LNS. Now don't worry whether now this is going to give you what? Root 4 is 2 and this is 4th root of 3. Now don't worry whether 4th root of 3 will be more than 2 or less than 2 and scratch your head there. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether 4th root of 3 is going to be more than 2 or less than 2, because irrespective of that, I'll be able to answer the question. The answer can be yes or no. It's like this. I'll toss a coin. Answer can be either heads or tails. So I am saying heads or tails, yes or no. I'll be able to tell yes or no from statement 3. I'll be able to tell heads or tails. I mean, statement 3 is I'm tossing a coin. If you're tossing a coin, I'll be able to tell, right? It is not possible that the coin will get stuck in the air or it will stand flat, straight. Not possible. Those are ruled out. So important. Don't solve it unnecessarily, right? Just have that understanding and jump to a conclusion. So A alone, B alone, C alone. All 3 give me the answer. Okay. So A or B or C alone are sufficient. Very, very important. Yeah, I think so. So that's about it. Data sufficiency is just this. Any concept, any topic can be asked in this format of question, right? Question followed by statements. Just work on those. There are more questions. We can just keep solving it, but it's for you to practice. So keep practicing. I think maybe I'll take one more question. Let me just take one more question, one last question, and then we will close it up, right? So this is the last question from data sufficiency in this session today. The question is on your screens now. Interesting. Find the 2-digit number. You have to find the 2-digit number now. Find it out. Find the 2-digit number. Statement A. So basically I needed the 2-digit number. There's a 2-digit number. I needed the 2-digit number. So this is tens place, let's say this is units place. So what should I know? I should either know the number itself. For me to answer this question, I should either know what is TU, the 2-digit number, tens place, units place, or I should know T separately and U separately. Either ways, I'll be able to mark the answer. So that clarity you must have before you look at the statements. Look at statement 1. The sum of the squares of the 2 digits is 26. The sum of the squares of the 2 digits is 26. What does it mean? T square plus U squared is 26. Sum of the squares of the 2 digits is 26. T squared plus U squared is 26. T squared plus U squared is 26. Will this give you the answer? No. Why? Simple. One equation, 2 variables. How will you solve it? One equation in 2 variables. How will you solve it? Can you solve it? You cannot solve it, right? T square plus U square is 26. How would you know what is T and what is U? But there are some underlying, there's some underlying data available with us. What is that? We know that T and U are digits of a 2-digit number. T and U are digits of a 2-digit number, which means they have to be integers. Both T and U have to be integers. Yeah? And we also know that it is T squared plus U squared equals to 26. Now, how many possibilities will you have? You can write down all the possibilities and find out what can be the 2 digits. But still, you will not know what is T and what is U. You will know the 2 digits. If you start working on this statement, you will know eventually what the 2 digits are. But is it, I mean, which of these 2 digits is T and which one is U, that you will not. For example, 26. Now think of 26. You are squaring 2 numbers. You are squaring 2 numbers, 2 digits. It can be 1 to 9, right? And you have to get the sum as 26. The only possibility is 5 squared plus 1 squared. See, think of the squares, right? 1 square is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. The moment you go to 6 squared, 36. So 1 digit itself is giving you 36. The square T square plus U square cannot give you 26, and it will be much more than 26. So the only possibility is you have to use 1, 4, 9, 16, 25 to get 26. Add 2 digits, 2 numbers. Add 2 numbers. Which 2 numbers? Any of these 2 numbers. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25 to get 26. The only combination is 25 and 1. Even if you add 16 and 9, you will get 25. But I want the sum to be 26. 26 is possible only with 25 and 1. 25 plus 1 equals to 26. Or 1 plus 25 equals to 26. So the point is, I know the digits are 5 and 1. 5 square plus 1 square, or 1 square plus 5 square. 5 square plus 1 square is 26. Or 1 square plus 5 square is 26. So I know the 2 digits are 1 and 5. But is T1 U5 or U1 T5? That we do not know. So the point is, having done all this, statement 1 alone is not sufficient. The number can either be 15 or it can be 51. Tens place is 1, units place is 5, or tens place is 5, units place is 1. 15 or 51 are the 2 possible numbers. Am I getting the answer from statement 1? No. He says find the 2-digit number. Do I know the 2-digit number? No, I don't know. I do not know. All I know is 15 or 51. So 1 alone does not give me the answer. Now before we jump to the second statement, let's eliminate the options. Any one of them? No. Any one of them will not give me the answer. Because 1 alone is not giving me the answer, I cannot say any one of them is giving me the answer. Only A and B together are sufficient? Maybe. Only A and C are sufficient? Maybe. Any 2 of the 3 are sufficient? Maybe. So I'll have to work on the remaining statements now. Look at statement P. The ratio between the 2-digit number and the sum of the digits of that number is 5:2. Now remember, when you are looking at statement B, this is where you will realize that we have this tendency of using this information of statement 1. Remember, 15 or 51 came out from which statement? It came from statement A. 15 or 51 comes from statement A. So you cannot use this information while checking statement B. So forget about this. So what does statement B tells you? The ratio between 2-digit number and the sum of the digits of that number is 5:2. Now if the 2-digit number is TU, what will be the value of this number? 10T plus U. You remember, 2-digit number AB is to be expanded as 10A plus B. Units place, tens place, right? Multiply by 10, multiply by 1. So 10A plus B. So which means statement B, the equation will be as follows. 10T plus U divided by T plus U equals to 5/2. 10T plus U, 2-digit number, and sum of the digits T plus U, the ratio is 5:2. Solve this now. So what do we get? 20T plus 2U equals to 5T plus 5U. What do you get? Will you get an answer from this? No, you will not get anything, because all it tells us is 15T equals to 3U. Or it tells me that T by U equals to, this is 1/5. T is to U equals to 1/5. T is to U equals to 1/5. So statement B is giving us this information. Tens place is to units place is 1:5. Tens places to units places 1:5. Now if anybody tells me that the number is 15 after learning this, is going wrong. Why? Because our confusion earlier was, is it 15 or 51? After knowing this ratio, T is to U equals to 1:5, I can conclude that the number is 51. And I can say B alone is sufficient, but that would be wrong. Why? We could conclude that 15 is a number by using not just this, but also this. And this came from statement A. Remember, currently we are looking only at statement B. Statement B alone will give you the answer? No, it only tells me that the ratio of the two digits is 1:5. It is not giving me the exact digits. So B alone is not sufficient. But now, by now you would know that combination is giving me the answer, because statement 1 gave me 15 or 51 as the two possible two-digit number. Statement 2 tells me that the ratio has to be 1:5. So it has to be 15 only. There is no other choice. 51 is ruled out. The answer has to be 15. So combination of A and B. A and B together is sufficient. A and B together is sufficient. Now when you say A and B together is sufficient, I can eliminate option C, option 3, because it says A and C are sufficient. But I still have option 4. Any two of the three are sufficient. It could be possible sometimes that A and B together can be used, B and C together can be used, and A and C can also be used. So this still needs work. We still cannot mark the answer to this question. Now going to statement 3. So remember, individually A failed, B failed. Combination of A and B gave us the answer. Now look at C alone. Look at C alone first. The digit in tens place is 4 less than the digits in units place. I don't know what this 4 is. The digit in tens place is 4 less than the digit in units place. Tens place is 4 less than units place, which means what? T equals to U minus 4, or U minus T equals to 4. That's the equation. Are you able to follow? T equals to U minus 4. Tens place is 4 less than units place. Now what do you do? C alone is also not sufficient. What was the problem in all the three statements? Statement A was T square plus U square equals to 26. So one equation, two variables cannot be solved. Statement B was T is to U equals to 1:5. Again, one equation, two variables cannot be solved. Statement C, U minus T equals to 4. Again, the same problem. One equation with two variables cannot be solved. But you know that when we have got two unknown values, two variables, we need at least two equations to solve them. Each statement here gives me an equation in terms of T and U, the two digits that we need. So I've got three statements. Can I use any two of these three statements to get the answer? For example, I can use T square plus U square equals to 26 along with this ratio to find out what the number is. What are T and U? I can use T square plus U square equals to 26 along with U minus T equals to 4. Two equations, two variables, solve to get what U and T are. I can also use B and C. What are B and C? T is to U equals to 1:5. U minus T equals to 4. I can solve these two equations to find out what is U and T. Meaning any two can be used. I can use AB, I can use BC, or I can use A with C. So my answer should be any two of the three statements together are sufficient to answer this question, which is option 4. So this again is very important. The moment you get A and B together are sufficient, don't mark option 1. Because in case C's combination with A and C's combination with B also gives you the answer, then your final answer would be any two of these three are sufficient. That's another important learning in this topic of data sufficiency. Right? Usually we are in a hurry, right? So you've got A and B together giving you the answer, and option 1 tells you that A and B are sufficient. No, don't mark your answer immediately. So this, if I have to give you in terms of a rule number 4, again very important, never mark an answer to a data sufficiency question without reading all the statements. Only after reading all the statements and the possible combinations, you have to jump to your answer. For example, question is given along with two statements. Statement 1 alone is giving you the answer, is sufficient to give the answer. Will you mark only 1 alone is sufficient? No. Because in case 2 alone is also sufficient, then your answer would be either 1 or 2 are sufficient. You getting it? It depends on 2 also. What is the final answer depends on statement 2 also. If statement 2 alone is sufficient, then you will mark either 1 or 2. If statement 2 alone is not sufficient, only then your answer can be either 1. Likewise, when you are going for combinations also, if A and B's combination is giving the answer, don't jump to that option which says A and B together are sufficient. You have to read C, and you have to check C's combination with A and C's combination with B. You getting it? So, very important rule 4 of data sufficiency is not to mark the answer without reading all the statements. And on that note, I think I'll call it a session here. Thank you all for joining us. I wish we could solve more questions, but I'm glad that we have touched upon all the concepts and that very important is type of question, right? The questions that start with is or are. Remember, no can be a right answer. People may not accept it. Like sometimes your let's say your friend or your girlfriend gets you something, right? Or cooks something for you, and she's like, "How's it?" You end up saying yes, that's a different story, but no can be an answer, right? I mean, is it good? No. Or like somebody says, how am I looking? I mean, no can be a right answer. People don't accept it. That's different. But no is also a right answer there. So keep that in mind. And you know, when you get no, don't think that you're screwed. No. You got the answer. Which statement gave you the answer? That statement is sufficient to answer that question. So that's how you have to analyze the data sufficiency questions. However, if your girlfriend or better half is asking you, answer yes. It always helps. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, let me close it here. Thank you all for joining us. I will meet you again in more such live classes. Just do subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon, because that will give you updates about our new videos and the live classes that we do. And I think net, it's only practice that's going to help you, right? Just attending these live sessions will not be of any use if you don't practice. So keep practicing and do take very good care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next session. Bye.